Hey, I'm live. Oh, hello, Minio Kicker. You were quick on the uptake. Sorry for that hiccup there. I had my resolution set wrong. Actually, what in the world is going on here? Okay, if you can see my preview and it's not like pixelated to hell, tell me. Oh, that's what it is. My playback is at 144p. Okay, I'm not super worried about it then. Oh. Maybe it's better now. Anyway, welcome to another edition of whatever I happen to be working on. Our randomly selected, well, quasi-randomly selected Patreon sponsor for this stream is Daniel D. Yeager, who has generously contributed more than is necessarily required just to see the archived streams. More on that later. Today we're working on something new, finally. I am done with Styracosaurus with the exception of some extra stuff that has to be tacked on to the end, but I am waiting on product shots in order to add to that. So in the meantime, I've been working on a follow-up to our second episode ever, which was Stegosaurus. And this is talking about what we've learned from the Sophie specimen. And it turns out that the Sophie specimen's description is open access, which means I can use a lot of their images because they are CC BY, and I just have to, cite them. So yeah, I've been going through and seeing what elements I can just use prior art for, because there are a few, because I'm talking about basically what I should have been talking about in the Stegosaurus episode, which is what really were the driving forces behind why Stegosaurus is portrayed the way it is. And right now, I've been working on, I haven't actually been in After Effects, I've been in Adobe Animate, because I need to get a few other stegosaurs in here. First, I need to scale them properly, though, so let's see here. Well, no, what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull them into Illustrator, and then I'm going to scale them. That's what I'm going to do. Pardon. Wait for Illustrator to launch. Well, I guess I don't have to wait for Illustrator to launch. I can export my images right now. Dinosaurs, Sophie, assets. Save. No, I don't want to include hidden layers. Okay. I have to export as an SVG file in order to open this in Illustrator, and then I have to save it as an AI file to open it in After Effects. Well, actually, I don't know if After Effects does. After Effects might support SVGs natively, but I want to open them in Illustrator anyway because I need to control the layers a little bit better than Flash Export lets me. You might notice that these are super complete restorations of these animals, whereas Pteranodon is only known from part of its jaw, and Regnosaurus is only known from, oh no, Regnosaurus is known from part of its lower jaw, Pteranodon is known from part of its upper jaw. I have based their reconstructions on more completely known specimens, well, more completely known related genre from East Asia. And we'll see in a second. There's a part where I talk about how we knew very little about the body plan of stegosaurs at this period, so I think it'll be illustrative to show like this entire complete animal and then, but actually we only had this part of it, so we were just kind of guessing for the rest. Unfortunately, I already have so why do I have two versions? Oh, that's why. It's weird that they're different sizes, but whatever. All right, and then we open up the rest of our stuff. Can I just drag these in? Or I can press open? Hey, I can just press help us improve Illustrator, take a survey. No. That survey is going to ask, like, what other features would you like to see in Illustrator? When the problem is it's got too many features and it's bloated. So it can be hard to see, but do I need to, when you export as an SVG from Flash, you get every layer as a group, and all of the strokes and fills for that layer are in their own groups within that group, within the layer group. Why it doesn't export layers as layers, I do not understand, but this is the cards we're dealt. For what we're doing, I don't think this is a huge deal, since we're just scaling the entire creature. I'll bet what we could do is Control-A, Control-Shift-G, Control-Shift-G, Control-Shift-G until we've got everything ungrouped, and then Control-G one time. Now we've got everything as one specific. I should probably. Where is it? I'm looking for the thing that lets me show transparency grid. Apparently that's Control-Shift-D. But yeah, all I wanted to see was the lines here as well. And then we'll save as AI. Save. Yeah, I'm fine. Not sure why the eye is light gray instead of white. It should be white. All right, that's grouped. Illustrator file, save, okay. Okay, so I keep doing that the old way. All I have to do is Control-A, Control-Shift-G a bunch of times and it'll work. You don't have to manually move layers around in the stack. And what was the shortcut? Control-Shift-D? There we go. Control-Shift-S. Someone named Anders has come in and said hi. And he wants me to say hi to Mr. Bowden from me. Do you mean Chris Bowden? Or the cat, because the cat has found a new home. Group. Group, save, Illustrator, save, okay. Save, okay. Oh, I forgot to group everything again. There we go. The reason I went through all that rigmarole is I want to bring all of these animals into one document and scale them accordingly. Oh, Andrews didn't know the cat's name was Bowden. Yeah. Open recent. No, I want a new. You know what? It doesn't matter if I get a new or not. Also, for comparisons, I've drawn all of them with only one side. They all have pairs of plates, and I elected to just not show the left-hand pair. It often takes me a long time to figure out which is right and which is left. Please continue to bear with me. There we go. Kentrosaurus has such a tiny head, even for a stegosaur. Oh good, it preserved. Okay, that's cool. File, save as. Now I could just scale these in After Effects, I suppose. Would there be any advantage to doing it that way? Yeah. Oh, Anders asked, is this Photoshop? No, this is Adobe Illustrator. And the other program was Adobe Animate, and the other program is Adobe After Effects, which is sort of like Photoshop, but for video. I'm working with vectors because they give me, well, first off, they fit the style of the show, which is that sort of straight-edged cutout look. Yeah, I think I'm better off bringing these into After Effects and scaling them there. So I'm going to do that. All right. Sort by type. I'm looking for my assets. There we go. What else we got? That's all of them. If I were smarter, I would have made the project folder before dragging them in, but whatever. Okay. Where do these need to go is the other issue. Can you guys hear that? Because that's super loud for me. I'm going to turn that down for a second. Okay, this is totally where it goes. I'm going to frame to the whatever. I don't know if you can see my interface pips, but my tablet decided that I was tapping a button, even though I wasn't. I need to go side by side. I need a little more space. There we go. Let me rearrange my things. There we go. Let us drag in. Well, my next decision that I got to make is, do I want this all in the master, or do I want to make a pre-comp? I think I want a pre-comp, so I'll make that first. 1920 to 1080. This does not need to be that long, though. Let's do like 5 seconds. 5 minutes. Let's do 1 minute. And everything else looks fine. All right. Well, for the first one, all we need is this, 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 and this. Boop. And where is it? Create shapes from vector layer. The reason I create shapes from vector layer is that I might want to layer these in some interesting way. And it's difficult to do that if they stay as Illustrator files. So the next thing I need is some kind of guide. Oh, look, I already had one open. I mean, you can't look because it's in my other monitor, but let's see here. Okay, Kentrosaurus is the shortest. 1, 2, 5-ish meters. So let's see here, new shape layer. It would help if I were actually renaming the layer. Add rectangle, add fill, add group empty. Probably do 200 by 20 actually. So that's a slightly frustrating feature. If I have a group, well, I mean, I guess it's better than the alternative, but if I have a group selected within a shape layer, it drags the position of the group within the shape layer, not the layer itself, which I suppose is sensible. But for now, I just need to duplicate that group, make the fill a different color. I'm making a ruler that's going to be five. How many do I need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I need 9 meters. Okay, let's go. Wait a minute, I'm being dumb. I can put these groups in groups. I can get recursive up in here. Sometimes it's just faster to type it in. Okay. Okay. So now we've got a nice ruler. Each of these color bars means a meter. Oh wow, video output low. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming, as such viewers will experience buffering. I'm not sure why that is. Let's clear our RAM. It's definitely not my RAM, actually. My RAM was fine. It might be my connection? Oh dear. I'm going to try closing a bunch of stuff, because I do have a few things open that I don't necessarily need, so maybe that'll help. If it doesn't get any better, I'll restart the stream at like 25 minutes if it hasn't improved. Alright, so, Kentrosaurus, 5 meters or thereabouts. Scale. And anchor point are what we need, and we're going to use the pan behind tool. I'm just going to put it on its snoot. Technical term being the predental. Well, no, if it's on the top of the... Yeah, it would be the rostral bone. No, it wouldn't, because it's a thyreophore. They don't have rostral bones. It would be the premaxilla. Shows what I know. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-ish. Oh, it's 5 including the tail spikes. Okay. I was like, that seems big. Kentrosaurus was not a large animal. I mean, it was a large animal, but not by dinosaur standards. It is objectively a large animal. What are you? Dacentrurus. I don't know how big a Dacentrurus should be. And that's not on my fancy diagram that I've been using. Hey, internet. $8 meters. Okay, I can live with 8 meters. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, we can make it. There we go. You'll notice that I'm not being super precise because most of these are estimates anyway, because we don't, like Kentrosaurus, we have a pretty complete specimen, but for the rest of these are just extrapolations, so. Oh, yeah, I know. I wasn't trying to get you to play back. I would remove that shortcut if I could. Yes, I talk to After Effects even though it can't hear me. I think everyone does at some point or another. What are you? Paranthodon. I'm basing Paranthodon on Tuojiangosaurus. Do I have a scale for Tuojiangosaurus? I do. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-ish meters long. Get the snoot lined up. Sorry, the premaxilla. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Seven-ish. Oh. God, Kentrosaurus is just so dinky compared to some of these larger ones. It's one of my favorite dinosaurs, but like I can't get over how tiny it is. Regnosaurus. 1, 2, 3, 4.5-ish. That's more like it. Somebody's got to keep Kentrosaurus company in its weight class, even though I'm fairly certain these animals would never have interacted. I believe Regnosaurus is from England, whereas I know Kentrosaurus is from Tendaguru in Tanzania. So next, now that I have them all scaled, I'm going to parent all of them to the scale bar. That way, if I just want to make them all smaller so that they'll fit on screen, which it looks like I totally have to do. Also, I'm going to turn off my modes because I don't need them. Because this is basically just going to be a still image. I don't actually need to see my timeline. I should probably have my chat up in case somebody's trying to talk to me. Hey, the stream's a little bit healthier than it was. That's cool. Right, if I just scale my scale bar down, now they all scale with it, which is helpful. I'm going to make this a guide layer as well, so that doesn't show up on final output. Okay, so now we have to actually make this into, like, an image. Also, I'm going to give Kentrosaurus an eye so that it can match up with the other ones. I'm serious. Look how tiny its head is, even compared to... Okay. Do I have something wrong here? I'm going to bring in Stegosaurus and scale Stegosaurus appropriately. And I'm going to see if that's... where did I put it? I guess I could import it as a composition. Sure. What am I looking at here? Why do I have it divided into so many layers? And why is there still no eyeball? I mean, for Stegosaurus specifically, I need to break it up into layers anyway because I'm going to be animating it a little bit in After Effects to show what the revisions are regarding Sophie, but for now, I guess I don't actually need it broken up. Yeah, I'm going to delete it. I'm going to bring in my Illustrator again and not bring it in as a composition, just bring it in as footage, if it'll let me. Okay, there we go. Don't need you. Okay. Okay, this has both the old guard episode and the new revised one based on Sophie. So, create shapes from vector layer. Wait for it to figure that out. Right. Oh my, okay. Geez, I got more than I bargained for. Haha! Okay. Why won't you let me rename things? There we go. What the heck? What? What? I copied the groups, but it didn't copy any of the stuff that was in them? That's not useful at all. My rectangle tool was still up for some reason. Yeah, the stream health is going to go down here because I have to move a lot of vector shapes around, and After Effects is going to chug for no reason. Okay, if it's going to be this much of a butt, I'm going to just solo the layer and try to work with that. Alright, am I moving anything I don't have to move? I remembered that it was around layer 40, but I couldn't remember exactly where the cutoff was between the two, and it didn't separate them. Even though these are on separate layers in the Illustrator file, it didn't separate them into separate groups here, because apparently it only sees group level stuff. Alright, so 39 through 73 can go away, whereas in this one, oh my goodness. One through 38 can go away. Okay. The reason that I'm bringing in Stegosaurus in the first place, by the way, is that I want to check its scale. Oh my goodness, I know you can't preview. I wasn't trying to preview. I don't know why you keep thinking I'm trying to preview. I am sorry that I haven't done a stream earlier in the month. I kept meaning to, but it's been a bit of a month around here. Hide these for now. First off, we're going to scale these -100 to flip it horizontally. Scale this one, -100. Right. There's like an extra square here that I don't need. Can I get rid of that? What? Apparently there were a bunch of clipping masks on every layer? Okay. I'm gonna leave it, but just know that after the stream's done, I'm going in and fixing the Stegosaurus Illustrator file and then re-importing it. Also, I appear to have lost the adductor muscles there. It's like an old-fashioned Stegosaurus where it's got the... Oh, I have a picture of that in the main timeline. Where, yeah, see that? Oh, crashing progress. Oh, oh no. Oh dear. Oh, Manita the Kicker says, it's okay, everybody is busy sometimes. I like the streams a lot. I am glad you like them, even when After Effects doesn't want to play with me. Yeah, I know I have one chance, okay. I guess while we wait for the After Effects process to quietly limp off and die, we're going to, yes, I know. We're going to look at our Stegosaurus silhouette and see what went wrong here. Hey, After Effects died. I could have ended the process prematurely, but I've had mixed results actually doing that. It seems to work better if I just let it fix itself and then relaunch. And then we'll see what we lost. File, recent. Do I want the crashing one? Yeah, let's try it. And what I was trying to show you was this bit here, where it's got no cheeks, no, I don't actually know what those are called. There's a theory that they might not have had cheeks, that they might have had like these weird scoots that kept food in their mouths while they processed it, insofar as a stegosaur could process its food. But it probably wouldn't have a Rhamphotheca-looking thing going all the way back to the back of its mouth because it had jaw-closing muscles in the way. All right. Before the crash, before the fall, we were going to scale these stegosauruses. The plural of stegosaurus is stegosaurus, unless you're referring to multiple species of stegosaurus, in which case it would be stegosauri. But I am not, because these are both supposed to be stenops. Which might, I don't know. I think I admitted this. I'm working with a rough version of the audio. Actually, you can't see what I'm pointing at. I'm working with a rough version of the audio, actually, that I just recorded using the mic I'm using now, just sitting at my desk. The timing is subject to change, but the advantage of doing this episode entirely animated is that, entirely motion graphics, is that as I find things that I might have misspoke on, or things that I find out, oh, I said the wrong thing, I can actually go back and when I record the final version, correct those mistakes, and that cuts down on the number of those little pop-ups that say I'm an idiot and I didn't realize it at the time. So that'll be convenient. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah, I pointed out in the rough, I need to do some further research. I'm not actually sure which species of Stegosaurus are currently considered valid. Like, I'm reasonably certain Ungulatus is out, but apparently Armatus might be out too. And Stenops is now the type species. So, you know, you turn your back for 3 years and everything changes. It's been more than 3 years, but this study was in 2015, which was 3 years after our Stegosaurus episode, I believe. I think our Stegosaurus episode was 2013, actually. Right, and then you need to get lined up as well. Right. All right, and Stegosaurus, I should know this off the top of my head, but I don't. Stegosaurus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and some change meters. Technical term. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Ah, geez. That looks about right. So if you haven't noticed, one of the main new things about Stegosaurus is just how long the neck is compared to what we're used to. And to find out why, read the study or watch the episode when it comes out, which should be relatively soon. Like, there's not a lot to this. It's definitely going to be less than 10 minutes long. How much shorter than 10 minutes depends on how much of this I wind up cutting out. Like, I go on a couple of tangents here about what medullary tissue is and what was the other one? Oh, and I go off on a tangent about the perennial idea in biology that there's such a thing as degeneracy or decadence in an evolutionary lineage, which is not really borne out by current thinking. Okay, so now that we have these two Stegosaurus scaled properly, let's bring them up here. Let's move this down. It would help if I had these parented to it. There we go. Wow, Stegosaurus. When you put it next to the other one, Stegosaurus is so huge. All right. Still, Dacentrurus has a really big head for such a relatively small animal. I'm going to live with it, though. It looks weird, but I'm okay with this. I say it looks weird when I'm looking at a lineup of bird lizards with spikes growing out of their flesh. Yeah. I'm going to hide Stegosaurs for now, because I don't need them yet. And I'm probably going to replace them with slightly cleaner AI files anyway. But we need to go in. The first thing we're going to do is solo Kentrosaurus and add a new group. Let me do things to it. There we go. I'm going to add an ellipse, add a fill, make that fill white. Okay. Not sure why it was born over there, but whatever. That where the eye should be. There we go. And reduce it in size until it looks right. Something like that. Right. So now I have to decide, do I want to break these up into paper textured stuff, or do I want to keep them more graphic? I kind of want to keep them more graphic. My stomach just made a noise. Oh, that's not what I wanted. So before, okay, so if I have one group selected, it'll have me drag it. But if I have multiple groups selected, obviously I want to click individual paths within one of the groups. That's okay. It's going to be okay. So I want groups 1 through 15, it looks like. Whoa! If you have multiple groups selected and say add group, it'll add one group to each of the ones you have selected. All I wanted to do was either show or hide. Look how weird that frickin' animal looks without its spikes. I concede that it was already weird, but especially when you take the spikes away, it's like, this is a strangely proportioned animal. I'm gonna find out that, like, there's been some massive breakthrough in Kentrosaurus research too, and My Kentrosaurus restoration is completely wrong now. I would be happy to find this out, mind you. Okay. Whoa. Is this the smart way to go about this, Steven? No. But I'll live with it. Alright, so the reason I went through all that is that I want to be able to color the spikes separately from the rest of the animal. Minute Kicker agrees with me that without the spikes it looks like another species. Alright. Then I think all the rest of these are individual elements, so I should just customize their fill individually. What kind of colors can we use? Let's do greenish. I guess those are the rear legs? Okay. Alright, so this should be, these two should probably be a darker color. Helps if you have both fills selected, but that's okay, it was just one extra click. And this, the head, leg, arm, and now it looks like I need to make the I pressed U to collapse everything because that was just getting like to be too much scrolling. There we go. And having the keratin be black no longer looks right either, so let's make that just really dark. Yeah, I mean, it's graphic, but that's the art style of the, I think I have the arms reversed. Does it look like I have the arms reversed? The placement of that keratin spike, yeah, that one. It seems like it should be further forward on the shoulder. Might just be the way I have it colored, but I'm changing it. All right. So that means that we need to go into this arm and leg and this arm and leg and switch their colors around. Fill, 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 fill. Cool. All right, just for giggles, let's go to where we need to be, which I believe is this +1. Let's drag in our pre-comp, Stegosaurus 01. Actually, it has to go below the lights. There we go. We're going to make it a 3D. We're going to parent it to local controls. We're going to paste our drop shadow effect. Yeah, that looks okay. I kind of prefer dark-bodied stegosaurs with dark spikes, like aesthetically, but for what we're doing, especially since this is all on a dark background anyway, probably better to have lighter colors. There we go. Yeah, definitely better to have lighter colors. So we got to do basically that same, pardon me, that same procedure for all these other ones as well. But I'm going to try to be smarter about it. Oh hey, I don't think I have to be smarter about it because it seems to have read my Illustrator files a little more intelligently for this one. So that's cool. Let's make this guy orange. Okay. Guess I spoke too soon. Guess I spoke too soon. So you'll notice that the correlation between where the thing ends up and where you're holding your mouse is not one-to-one. It's relative to where your mouse is on the next thing, which is a weird way to arrange it. Like, I understand why they did it, because you're usually concerned with, is this higher or lower than this other thing, not what is its absolute position in the stack. It just takes some getting used to, I guess. Actually, this one should be like... There we go. Cool. I can type. Yeah, something like that. Oh, maybe I should do like I did for Kentrosaurus and make the head same color as the right limbs. And we'll make the eye, wherever that is, there it is, black. When I'm picking whip colors, when I'm eyedroppering colors off screen, it's because I have this window, which has a color palette for the Your Dinosaurs Are Wrong series as a series of solids, which is not the preferred method for making a color palette accessible in After Effects, but it's the method I used. I think you're supposed to use the Libraries panel now. I suppose it would help if I unsoloed this. It's so dinky. It's the size of a family car, but it's dinky compared to some of these other animals. Alright, so now that I have some color involved, I can start to actually think about how they're arranged. I guess they don't have to, like, by default I tend to try to rest them all on the same plane, but there isn't really any reason I have to do that. The same plane up and down, I mean. They're all standing on the same ground and we're looking at them in isometric view of some kind. But since we're just comparing their silhouette, I guess it makes more sense to do it this way. Pardon me. This frame will probably be one of the, once it's done, I mean, will probably be one of the wallpapers this month. So that would be neat. If you want a look at some stegosaurids. Or maybe, these are all stegosaurians, but I don't know if they're all stegosaurids. There was a phylogenetic paper not too long ago, and I haven't actually looked up what the relationships are presently. Probably should. Looks like everything needs to be a little smaller too. Let's go to like 67. Yeah. Alright, Pteranodon. Oh, we got light green or greenish yellow, and we got orange. Let's make this guy blue. Stomach, I fed you. Quiet. And we're going to have to make all of the groups we already made in the other one. That's not what I wanted. I wanted a group. I had the pen tool up for some reason, and it wasn't showing me bounding boxes around the groups I had selected, and I'm like, you what? Fill 1 and fill 2. These need to be that. Cool. Ha, cool, cause it's cool colors. Two, actually no, because I'm dumb. There we go. There we go. And we'll lower the brightness to like there-ish. Use saturation a tad, we're good. The spikes no longer look like they fit with the creature though, so let's adjust that. Let's tell it, hey, make them this color, but then more. Yeah, that looks okay. Spikes don't stand out from the background enough now, though. Let's raise that brightness back up. That's cool. Yeah, I think we're good. I believe Regnosaurus wound up, yeah, Regnosaurus is tiny too, so what I should do is have Dicentris out over here, roughly lined up with you, and then up here. That way we can have little, little, big, big. All right, one more. See, I'm also having other thoughts because we also need, it's not just that we need to show all of these, we also need to compare them to Stegosaurus, so I'm probably gonna So like, my two main ideas would be to have Stegosaurus on one side and everybody else on the other. Or have Stegosaurus in the middle and everybody else, like, around. I'm leaning towards the latter. Phi. Alright. And then we're going to scale down even more to like 56. Yeah. Hey, it actually let me click and drag a layer. It must be my birthday. It is a pretty far cry from my birthday, though. It's like they're a squadron flying in formation. I think there was some kind of humorous publication that was like, oh yeah, there's totally a gliding hypothesis for Stegosaurus to fan out its plates and slow its descent from cliffs or something. Oh, file save as. I'm going to stop saving as the backup that I made while we were crashing, because that's a bad idea to overwrite that, even though I just did. I'm going to open up Dicentris again and look at the keratin, because I want to brighten those up a little bit. Brightness, like 50 something, yeah, that looks nice. All right, so we got orange, blue, greenish, yellow. We can't do turquoise because that's what the background, I mean, it's sort of on the Kelly green side, actually. It's bluish green rather than greenish blue. I can make it purple. I don't really want to make it purple, though. I guess we could just make it deep green. Let's try that. Oh, I have to do my layers again. All right, add group. What? Wait, what? I did that wrong, didn't I? Yep, I moved the plates into the arm group, which would be bad. There we go, leg 2, leg 1. I'm just going to preemptively make the eye black since I invariably do. All right. Let's go to color and say this. Sure, why not? And for the keratin, we can do the darker. Like that, right. I'm extremely zoomed in is why this looks so pixelated. I'm at full resolution, but it's kind of tiny. Alright, the bottom arms should be this, but a hair darker, and oh, we can't get any more saturated, so we're just going to go like that. Leg, don't need you, you need to move outside of the group. There we go. And then these two, and these two. Fill. The difference in value between, yeah, I'm just going to brighten up the body a little bit. Means I also have to brighten up these. I'm liking that so far. Could be arranged better though. Hide the scale bar temporarily, or permanently, who can say? Maybe we won't need it again. I'm just gonna make everybody a little cozier. I'm going to brighten those spikes because those aren't turning out quite right. Or those don't have enough contrast between foreground and background element. That looks better. All right. Might revise Kentrosaurus's color a little bit. He winds up being a lot more higher contrast than the other guys. That's all right though. Stegosaurus is so big though. Also, Stegosaurus is kind of weird, I found out. Most of these other stegosaurs don't have the alternating plates like Stegosaurus does. Like Stegosaurus, instead of having pairs of plates, it has one on the left, one on the right, one on the left, one on the right, all the way down the back, until you get to the tail, where the tail spikes are in fact paired, which is, in addition to having just enormous spikes compared to its relatives, or enormous plates rather, is pretty unique. All right. So what's the audio here? I'm going to hide my switches or my modes again because I don't need them. Okay, so I'm talking about the old restorations of Stegosaurus here. So I should probably... Yeah, that's going to have to wait until I clean up the Stegosaurus AI and get it in here properly. So let's duplicate this. Where are you? There we go. Stegosaurus 02. Let's see here. Yeah, that's where it comes in. Okay. I'm using this same figure with a slight variation on it later on down the line. I'm going to start naming these something useful. One second. Well, you know what we could do, Steven? There we go. All right. So the next thing that I have to do is compare, well, first off, it's going to be the old Stegosaurus, but I'm going to compare what we now, it's going to snap from showing the full creatures to showing what we knew of them at the time. So I have to swap all of these out for their fragments. And you might have just had like a groan to yourself because you're like, oh no, he's going to go through and change all the stuff again. Might not have to. Might not have to. Because first off, Kentrosaurus is out. We haven't found it yet. Second, let's see here. Parent, I'm holding down Shift while I parent these, which in theory scales them. It scales them, but it doesn't move their anchor point. That's why they're not lined up. Whoa. Slow down there, partner. Something like that. And you. Okay, so then we go in and we say, create shapes from vector layers, Incidentally, create shapes from vector layers preserves your parenting, and isn't that wonderful? Doing something I should have done in the first place, and color coding these. There we go. Ta-da! Before, after. Before, after. Yeah, both of these are just known from jaw fragments, which is amazing. Well, actually, I think Rhignosaurus is known from more now, but at the time that we're considering this, the turn of the 20th century, it was not. I think Pteranodon, though, is still known from just that one jaw fragment. Whereas this guy is more complete, so we're going to have to be careful about how we arrange this. Okay, I'm going to have to actually arrange my layer a little bit here. Let's see. Add group. Not to the existing group. Top level. Not entirely sure what a lot of this stuff is, but we'll figure it out. Oh, that's right. This one was described by Owen. And I don't know if this is true, but I suspect that this is why you still see a bunch of stegosaurs restored with one spike coming out of their arm or shoulder, even though there might not even be evidence of it, because he thought that that's where the spike should be. And who's going to question Sir Richard Owen? He decides what dinosaurs are and are not. Actually, I have an episode planned that questions whether Richard Owen's definition of Dinosauria still holds up because of the Ornithoscelida paper. Talking about that made me forget entirely what I was doing. I think I was trying to make this the proper color. And then we got there we go. Before, after, before, after. Scratch that, switch it around. I should have made a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory reference there. It should have been scratch that, reverse it. All right. And I'm probably going to have some kind of fancy animation to like go pop, 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 pop. So like this one has not a lot known. This one, these two have almost nothing known, and Kentrosaurus disappears entirely. Yeah, that's going to be neat. But in the meantime, this gets the point across. Like, we didn't know much. We didn't know much at all, and now we have this beast to try and restore. Yeah. So that's a couple of images knocked out. That's cool. Got a little bit to go here. But a lot of it is just talking about the Stegosaurus itself, which is largely dependent on me getting the Illustrator file cleaned up, which I will go do now. But I really will do another stream shortly here, like maybe Monday or Tuesday. So thank you all for tuning in. Sorry we had some weirdness going on here. I want to thank Daniel D. Yeager for supporting us on Patreon above the tier that is strictly speaking necessary to just see the streams. And if you want to see the archives of these streams, you should head over to our Patreon. Or if you just wanted to support our AV operations here in general, you should head over to our Patreon. And I will see you all next time.